sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
So James Gunn's Superman finally came out, and the question is it any good? And I can confidently say, yes it was. While it may not be the greatest superhero film of all time, it's still pretty dang good, especially for Superman's reputation, as it's been pretty dire the last 10 or so years, mostly due to Zack Snyder's unnecessarily edgy take on Superman, trying to turn him into something he's not. Superman's supposed to be the Boy Scout, because despite all his powers, he's just a country boy at heart. That's why the Kents play such a pivotal role, and Zack Snyder's fundamental misunderstanding of who the Kents are led to such a massive misunderstanding of who Superman is as a character. He's a human first and an alien second, something that James Gunn's Superman film very much leans into. Although I think there's better ways to go about it than what they did, as you don't need to tear down Superman's Kryptonian side to build up his human side. Because even though Superman is Clark Kent at heart, his Kryptonian heritage is still an important aspect of the character. Which leads me to hope that there will be new revelations regarding to Superman's biological parents, as I'm not exactly happy with the treatment the Elves received in this film. It wasn't as bad as what they did with the Kents in Man of Steel, but it's a pretty close runner-up. At least the damage done to Jor and Lara was pretty self-contained and didn't bleed much into Superman. In fact, they used it to tell a pretty compelling arc. I just think a different catalyst should have been chosen. As there's many different ways to get Clark to doubt his role within society, without the bizarre lore change to the Elves. At least the rest of the characters in this film were done pretty well. Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and Perry White were exactly what I wanted to see out of the Daily Planet journalists. The Kents were the humble yet wise moral compass of Supes. Lex Luthor was this scheming and envious businessman we all know and love to hate. And the Justice Gang, consisting of Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner Green Lantern, and Hawkgirl, were pleasant additions to the film that made the superhero universe feel more lived in. My only complaint is Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl didn't get a lot to do in this film and could have used more fleshing out. But the standout side character in this film has to be Krypto, as the adorable little doggo stole every scene he was in. But this film's biggest accomplishment was the characterization of Superman. It was so refreshing to see a hopeful, optimistic Superman again, as the dourness of the Snyder era left a bad taste in my mouth. David Corn said it had big shoes to fill because despite the Snyderverse Superman being a terrible take on the character, Henry Cavill was pretty perfect casting. This film makes me believe in the viability of superhero universes again. It has made me excited to see what James Gunn will do next, this DC universe he is building. These first impression videos of mine are unscripted, stream of consciousness style brainstorms of what I thought of the films, and are usually done for films I want to talk about but don't have time to do a full review of. However, while I don't have time to do a review of Superman at the moment, this is a film that has stuck with me, and I do definitely plan on revisiting in the future, do a full breakdown of. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on a full breakdown of Superman, subscribe so you can catch the video when it releases, and I promise it'll be much more polished than this. Adios, muchachos. Have yourselves a super day. Ciao.
You have to eat them with a spoon. What am I doing in Africa?